Collections, settle your tax issue, and possibly reduce the amount you owe by thousands of dollars. A new taxpayer emergency helpline has been set up by Tax Mediation Services. Call the helpline now at 877-207-2077. See if you qualify to have all collections ended and to have your tax problems resolved for thousands less. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS that you cannot afford to pay, call now to see if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative. 877-207-2077. 877-207-2077. 877-207-2077.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising, DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising, 909-222-9293.
If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, call 909-885-8502 or email ceo@kcaaradio.com.
The other stations claim to be local.
Yeah, right.
KCAA Radio, the only true local radio station on your radio dial.
Hi, y'all. Merle here. Good news. For once, my neighbors is jealous of me. You want to know why? Because my grass is growing and looking green, and I can sit on my sofa out in the front yard, and I don't even have to overwater it anymore. You know how I did it? I listened to Damn Water Boys on the Water Zone every Thursday night on KCAA. Well, I got me a smart controller, and now it waters at night, and my yard looks darn tootin'. No more sneaking around and hooking up my hose to my neighbor's spigot in the middle of the night, and his dog won't bite me anymore. And you can do it too. Listening is easier than ever. KCAA is now streaming online.
It's streaming.
What?
It's streaming, you dummy.
Well, I don't know much about streaming, but they doing it apparently at KCAAradio.com. And they also on 3 radio frequencies now too. 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. I guess that's for those 1%ers who have 3 radios. So anywho, listen to the Water Zone and fix your yacht up right here at KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Studios of KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, located in beautiful, sunny California. Thanks for tuning into the Water Zone today. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm Rob Starr. Mr. Mike Barron, who's normally here as the co-host, is off today, but he's probably listening. So hi, Mike. And tonight is our Ag Show, and we're very excited to have our 2 special guests who come in and do the Ag Show from our micro irrigation group, Miss Ingy Bisconer and Mr. Paul McFadden. So welcome, people. How are you today?
Hello, Rob. How are you? We're doing great, thank you.
Good. Is it beautiful weather down south?
It's a little cloudy. They're calling for maybe a few sprinkles late tonight, early tomorrow morning. So
wow.
it's kind of exciting. exciting.
And then we're expecting 100-degree weather next week here in the end of October. How about that?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I get a hard time coming from the East Coast and having Christmas when it's 88 degrees outside and, missing the snow and the cold and all that. So anyway, that's California. So anyway, I'll turn it over to you guys. So it's all yours.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I know that you received an award this last week in Las Vegas, the EPA Water Sense Excellence Award. So congrats to you and Mike. I know that you were very much involved in that.
Well, it's all of us. It's you and Paul and Mike and me and Courtney and the small mighty group, but we're doing good and
it takes a village to get these drops of water flowing downhill. Huh?
Absolutely, and we're getting another award in 2 weeks for the Irrigation Association for this show. So we're very excited about that as well. So
good work on that. Well, that's because we have really great guests, and tonight we have a couple more really great guests lined up, and we're going to be talking about water and agriculture in a particular geography of the state called Kern County, where Bakersfield is, and we're really looking forward to it. So I'll introduce our first guest, who is Lois Henry. Lois, are you on the line? Is Lois on the line?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Hi, Lois. Thanks for joining us. Lois Henry is a former water journalist with the Bakersfield Californian and is now the advocacy director at BizFed Central Valley, which she'll tell us a little more about. So, Lois, let me let the listening audience know a little more about you, and then we'll dive into a little chat about your water escapades down there in Kern County.
Okay.
So I guess after about 10 years of management at the Bakersfield Californian, you asked to be allowed to start a twice-weekly column for the paper, and they've been very successful. Your columns have covered a wide array of topics, which have both delighted and irked some readers in equal measure. The columns on her most revisited topic, water, have given readers up and down the state an inside look at how this precious resource is moved, traded, and used on a regular basis. Recently, when you left this position and joined BizFed in Bakersfield and were asked how to sum up your long career, you basically said, it's been fun. I'm sure it has been. Water is a fun topic, and you get a lot of opinions, and I'm sure writing about it was a lot of fun. And now in your BizFed role, you'll be helping a diverse group of business organizations, trade groups, and business people from Bakersfield to Fresno get together and figure out at the same table what they'd like to address and solve as far as issues in the area that are affecting the economy. And
right.
I guess your job will be to research and help those folks figure out what to do. So, Lois, how did you end up becoming a journalist in the first place with a focus on water? And how did you end up with BizFed Bakersfield Fresno?
Well, let's see. I was in college, and I liked to write and research. And, when you do that, it's sort of like, what do you want to do for a living? Be a teacher or, I don't know, be a waiter while you write the great American novel? So,
yeah, right.
when you're an English major. Anyway, and I was very interested in poli-sci, so one of my teachers said, well, why don't you try a little bit of journalism? And I think I had 20-some units, and I got a job on the campus newspaper, and I loved it so much that I kind of dropped to the very base minimum, almost 9 units, so that I could do nothing but work on the campus newspaper.
Oh.
So I figured that might be something I would want to try if you could actually make a living out of it. Anyway, so I got a job at the Fresno Bee working nights and weekends. Back then we used to have what's called copy kids, so I was a copy kid.
Okay.
They used to be called copy boys back in the days of, the front page. But we were enlightened, so we called ourselves copy kids.
Very good. Very good.
Right?
Not
not to be sexist. And so I did that and graduated from college, and I started working at the Fresno Bee. They had me in their South Valley Bureau for a while, but they didn't want to hire me full time, and then the Californian came calling and had a full-time job, so that's how I ended up at the Californian. And I had always had an interest in writing about water. I started actually in college trying to figure out, sort of this water puzzle, because it was always a big, interesting, important topic, but incredibly hard to access. And so I spent my career doing all kinds of stuff, covering aerospace and crime and social services and state government and oil. And I never really got to cover water. I became an assistant managing editor. I worked my way up from metro editor to assistant managing editor. And I started noticing some legal ads. This was in the 1990s about, there's extra water for sale. Kern County Water Agency is selling extra water. This agency is selling extra water. And we just been through this drought. And so I was like, what extra water are they talking about? So I assigned, where's this extra water coming from? They were all crying and saying we had to fallow all this land. And we'd fallowed hundreds of thousands of acres here in Kern County. It was a devastating drought. This was before the Monterey Agreement. And so I snatched the environmental reporter, and she was young and new, and I sent her on this quest to try and find out what this water was. And then she kept coming back with answers, and I kept going, it doesn't make any sense. Go back. Ask him this. Go back. Anyway, so we ended up breaking the news on the environmental water account. Contra Costa Times likes to say that they broke it, but we actually, if you look at it, we were a couple months ahead of them. And we broke that story on the environmental water account. I also broke the reporter. She quit. She put in her notice as soon as the story. She didn't want to do any more water stories.
Oh, no.
She left journalism and went into banking. I don't know. That was a good idea. But anyway, so I was just obviously incredibly intrigued. And then when I started my column, I started sort of putting my sort of toe into the water world and, attending meetings. And it was very slow going. It's really hard to learn all this stuff. And frankly, a lot of the folks in water don't make it easy to learn this stuff. I think that they feel like they have an easier time of life when they're not getting scrutinized by the public. But the public, and here's what I found about the public. I mean, these are topics that you might say are fairly arcane and difficult and, boring but important, as some of my bosses used to label my stuff. But the public is very intrigued by this. The public is not fooled. They know that water is our lifeblood, whether it's to sustain farming or to sustain houses. They know it's incredibly important, and they don't have the time, to get into it and understand it all. So they appreciate it when someone lays stuff out bit by bit. And, in my columns, I tried to be as plain spoken and as simple as possible. And, I would even, write what was happening in this deal, and then I would stop and I'd say, okay, now let's recap. So here's what we know so far. Okay, got that part down? Yeah. Now on to the second part, because it is very complicated. And a lot of the people in water don't understand, like the folks that deal with the State Water Project, they have no clue how the Kern River is administered. And the people who have the Kern River have no clue how the Central Valley Project, the federal project, is administered. So it's, the general public shouldn't feel stupid. They should understand that this is complicated stuff, and it's hard to keep track of, but it is important.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of different entities managing, and they don't necessarily all talk to one another, and that's the problem that I'm sure that somebody is hopefully trying to solve. But it's like you said, a big puzzle.
I would disagree that anyone's trying to solve it. Believe me.
Yeah.
I think this is Paul, Lois. I was just curious. It seems to me that there's a certain group of folks working on local issues. Then there's more regional issues like the South San Joaquin, state issues and federal issues, and we've got all these different levels within the conversation going on. It seems like that could be part of our problem right there. Like you had just mentioned, the state water project folks talking with the Kern River folks, there's a big disconnect because they're just at different levels, I guess.
Yeah. And, the way that water rights work and the way that these different systems were set up, this water project was set up very differently from the federal CVP. DEP has different sections within it, by the way, that operate very differently, and they have different rules and regulations, and it's embedded in history. And there's a lawsuit right now going on that I don't want to bore you with, but has to do with the Bryant contractors and the exchange contractors, and it gets very tricky. And so I don't know that there is a way to have a common language for everybody. You just have to know so much history, and you have to know so much about the intricacies of all the different deal making. It's just a what do they call it, a Gordian knot? And I don't know how you fix that unless you just decide, hey, we're going to wipe out all rights. We're going to wipe out all existing rights and systems and just start from the beginning. And of course, that would be destruction of property rights, and people would probably riot in the streets. So I think we're kind of stuck with this crazy work quilt.
So that brings me to the next question I want to throw out there is, we've been hearing a lot about Governor Brown's plan for the water fix in the tunnels. A lot of voting within the different groups, the Westland, the Metropolitan, Santa Clara, all taking place even as late as yesterday, and some follow-up discussion today. I'd like to get your view and maybe a brief explanation of what that is for those listeners who maybe aren't as up to speed on this issue as others. But what are your thoughts?
Well, let me preface this by saying that, I spent a lot of years studying the Kern County water system, and mostly focused on the river here. So I'm not an expert by any means on the Delta. It is extremely complex up there. But from talking to the folks down here about the Delta, the water tunnels, the California water fix, the tunnels, first of all, you have to understand that those they were never conceptualized to be like a peripheral canal, like a standard way of routing water around the Delta. They're only going to be used if conditions within the Delta trigger possible problems, and then some water can be moved into the tunnels to keep people whole downstream. So it's not anything that would create A, more water, or B, more water, on a regular basis. They're just supposed to be used, when there's a problem within the Delta at the tunnels, at the pumps by Tracy, or when, say, the king tide comes in and it just becomes too salty closer to the pumps, and running the pumps would pull that salty water in closer. So then you set into the tunnels, as I understand it, from the rivers, from the Sacramento River higher up, so that you bypass all that problem. So it's not an all the time thing. So the folks down here, their big question has been like, okay, we're talking about $17 billion, and I can't remember what Kern County's share would be. Gosh, it's been so long. I think 7% of that or something. And what they want to know is, like, what's the minimum water we can expect? With those tunnels, and understanding that they would operate when the Delta was having potential ecological problems, what's the minimum, what's the floor on that water? Because then they build their budgets back from that. And the way that the state is looking at it is, well, it's not a set water amount. These are decision trees that will be triggered depending on circumstances within the Delta, and it's like this huge complex matrix of factors that determine how the Delta operates. So the state won't give them a number. So that you see in Kern County, the Kern County Water Agency had a 48% positive response to, will we help fund the tunnels? That means about half their member units decided not to do that because they can't get a floor, they can't get a minimum. So you've got Metropolitan Water District, which is all in, and of course they're the big dog. They got all the money. You've got Westlands that says they're out, although I kind of think that's a protest vote. And then you've got Kern County that's half in, and Santa Clara that's in, and Santa Clara is, much smaller. As you go down from Metropolitan, Westlands, Kern County, Santa Clara, you're going down in size in terms of users and contract amounts and money that they can contribute. So now, all of a sudden, you hear that the state is talking about one tunnel. Well, that's actually been an option all along. And the guys here in Kern County have been looking at that, saying, well, maybe they'll just end up doing one tunnel and then maybe we can afford that. So you have to understand that all these options have all been discussed for years, going on and on and on. And so I think those tunnels will be built. I think Westlands will ultimately come in because it's a more sure thing for getting water, and Westlands has such shaky rights and shaky system that they will not want Metropolitan Water District to be wagging that dog, if that makes sense to you. Yeah. They will want to have some say in this, and so will Kern County. And I think Kern County. So I think they're going to build some version of those tunnels, and it may not be 2 tunnels. It may not be as large as it has been proposed. And by the way, they also got a key win a couple of months ago when the state agreed to allow the contractors to basically to be in charge of building the tunnels. So the contractors, which are all these districts, can do it a lot cheaper than the state. There's not going to be as many cost overruns. They're not going to have to hire as many high dollar employees, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's going to happen. Sorry, that's very long-winded, wasn't it?
No, that was a great perspective on it, and I learned several things from that. I mean, you can read the news every day and try to watch this blow-by-blow action, but bottom line, as of today, it seems like it's underfunded and/or it needs to be smaller. But I'm with you. I think ultimately, Westlands is going to need the water, and they're not going to want to be left out of a major way of getting water during disastrous situations, right?
Right. I just don't see them saying that's it. I mean, what else? I could see some of the Kern County guys that opted out, the various member units. They've been working really hard to shore up other sources of water outside of our groundwater. They've been shoring up. They've been buying different pieces of property and trying to wheel and deal on different types of river water and come up with different ways to store more water using Prop 1 money. So they've been sort of like, they've been squirreling away these little water nets. And so some of them, I think, could stand without being part of the tunnels. And remember, you can be a part of it. You can still be a state water contractor and not be in on the tunnel.
Right.
You're off in this sort of gambling land, further into the gambling world than you would be with the tunnels. But you're still going to be able to get some water out of this, out of your contract. So, anyway, sorry, I'm just getting off
it's a complicated topic. There's lots to learn, and you've studied it for quite a while, so it's really interesting to get your perspective. Rob, we have about 5 minutes left. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump to another topic. You were once labeled as the enemy of fun because of something that you wrote about fireworks, and you've also written extensively about the water forfeited from the Kern River and fought to have flows return to the city. Tell us a little bit about that in our last couple of minutes here.
Well, I'm the enemy of fun because I think that personal fireworks should be banned. I'm not against professional shows, but the personal fireworks give cover for illegal fireworks. And we have had the illegal fireworks have burned people's houses down regularly here every 4th of July. And the safe and sane personal fireworks have been used illegally, in mountain areas, thrown at people. They cause fires all the time. It's out of control. So I think that they should be banned.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun to have your house burned down. I agree with that.
Yeah, the people whose homes that have burned down, they have talked to me extensively, and they were not laughing. No, they were not laughing at all. So anyway, that's why people got really mad at me about it. But you know what? I raised it, and I think the city took some responsible steps, including, by the way, I said we should have free professional shows for these people, that want to do this, and they can see real fireworks. And the city, to their credit, has had a free professional show with a big picnic, and it's a big, community event, and they've had that for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been a great deal. So I'm proud of that stance. Now, what did you ask me about? Oh, the Kern River. That is in the hands of the most glacially moving state agency on the planet, the State Water Resources Control Board. They get mad every time I say that, but they found that there was unattached water on the Kern River, and that's the first time since, I think, 1964 that they have found that there's essentially loose water on a river in California. And then all of these agencies and organizations made applications for that water, and the city's application is the only one that said, we're going to run it down the riverbed. You know, because we haven't had a river in Kern County except when we have flood years like we did this year, because it all gets diverted for ag. And my contention is, you know, some of that could be run down the river. It helps recharge our groundwater basin, which we all rely on for drinking water. And, you know, it's beautiful, and it creates a wonderful environment. Yeah. And it's such a heavily plumbed river. You can run it down through the city, pick it back up at the end, put it in the Cross Valley Canal, zip it back up, because it goes east, west, north, south. I mean, our plumbing is very extensive here. Huh. And so I've said, yeah, I think we should do this. And, you know, farmers have fought me on it, and it's up to the state. And the state, well, I mean, we did have that 5-year drought, and they had to take over a few other things, so I guess I can't blame them too much, but they've been sitting on it since 2007.
Wow, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that decision comes through, and you have a little bit of river fun in the city. I used to live in Bakersfield, so I can totally relate. Yeah, that riverbed is dry most of the time, and it'd probably be nice to have it wet. Although the upper river is very swift and actually kills a lot of people every year.
Oh yeah,
so crazy.
Yeah. This year was terrible. I'm talking like ankle deep water.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah, down in the middle.
Just enough for kids to get out who don't have a pool to get out and just, you know, splash around in, and it changes the face. If you've been to Bakersfield or lived in Bakersfield,
yes.
When we have a river, it changes the complexion. People get out. They go out on the bike path. They enjoy life. It's just a different world.
Water's wonderful. Well, Paul's going to wrap up. We've got about 1 minute. And
so I just was curious. What are looking back in your career? What is your proudest moment, and what are some things you'd like to leave our listening audience with?
Oh my gosh. My stories have changed federal law on a couple of different things. I'm very proud to have brought to light some injustices in the criminal justice system, and have helped people, get their kids back from CPS when they should not have been taken. There's so many things that being a newspaper reporter, it's a fabulous career being a journalist. You have the opportunity to do a lot of good. Even just letting people know what's happening at city council meetings. It is just so imperative to our democracy that we have people who ask questions and aren't afraid to write the truth about what's going on. That I can't commend journalism enough. And whether it's print, TV, radio, web, we need to keep at it.
Well, thank you for what you have done and the education that you put forth to people. Keep up the good work. Good luck at BizFed, and I hope you bring all those entities together to, solve problems just as you've done with your journalism career. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lois.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back to the Water Zone in a second, so stay tuned and stay thirsty.
Do you hear it? Springtime! And folks across the country are excited to get their yards ready so they can get outside and kick back again. And with Scott's and Miracle-Gro in your shed, it's easy. Whether you plan to grow spectacular plants and bountiful flowers, or enjoy a thick, healthy lawn all season long, now's the time to get outside and fill... Oh, wait. Do you hear that? The sound of great things to come. It's time to fill your shed with Scott's and Miracle-Gro.
Are you looking for a place to buy your landscape and gardening items? Come visit us at Site One Landscape Supply. We offer a large and quality selection of irrigation, landscape, and outdoor living products such as Toros water-efficient precision nozzles. Site One Landscape Supply has over 30 locations right here in Southern California, and we are the largest national wholesale distributor of landscape supplies in the United States. Site One's knowledgeable and friendly staff is equipped to help you with all your landscape, irrigation, and outdoor living projects. Whether you're redoing your backyard into a drought-tolerant garden or creating a water-efficient landscape for your client, Site One has everything you need, including the latest in water-saving techniques. drought-tolerant plants for your yard, irrigation supplies, fertilizer and weed control products, landscape accessories, hardscape products, outdoor lighting, and much, much more. Visit SiteOne.com to find a store near you or stop by today. SiteOne. We are stronger together.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the second half of the Water Zone Show. This is our Ag Show with Miss Ingy Bisconer and Paul McFadden. And anybody who wants to call in and ask, please do some questions. You ask questions, we have answers. Numbers is 888-909-1050, or if you're local, 909-792-5222. So Ingy and Paul, I'll turn it back over to you guys. Ingy?
Sorry, Rob, we were on mute. Here we go.
Oh, that's okay. I had the script so I could ask the questions.
I apologize.
That's
Thank
okay.
you, Rob. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Things happen in radio.
Our next guest is also from Bakersfield. His name is Mike Pitter. Mike, are you with us?
I am. Good evening.
Hi, Mike.
Welcome.
Hi, Ingy, Paul.
Let me introduce you to our listening audience, and we'll jump right in. We've got our first guest gave us lots of interesting topics to think about, and you I think are going to provide us with all the answers in addition to what Lois gave us. So we're anxiously waiting for that. Mike is currently Vice President of the Agriculture Division at Rain for Rent, headquartered in Bakersfield, California. Many have seen the Rain for Rent logo. It's a black umbrella with the name Rain for Rent around it throughout California. You've managed the 9 branches in the western United States for the past 6 years. Prior to that, you managed 2 of the Rain for Rent locations in Bakersfield and down in Chandler, Arizona, for a period of 9 years. He's also worked as a project manager for Rodney Padilla Farms and a territory manager for Golden State Irrigation Services in Bakersfield. Mike began his career as an engineer at Rain for Rent. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Agricultural Engineering from California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo and is a registered mechanical engineer. Mike and his wife Renee live in Shafter with their 4 kids, Julia, Brian, Ashley, and Kyle. He enjoys mountain biking with his kids and is also involved with his wife's small boar goat operation for 4-H and FFA kids. Welcome to the Water Zone, Mike.
Hey, thank you very much, Paul.
Before we get into your background, we would like to know more about the boar goats. I think you're our first guest that has had that as a hobby or an avocation. So if you wouldn't mind taking a couple of minutes and telling us a little bit about boar goats.
Well, my wife was she was inspired. We actually, before we moved back to Bakersfield, California, she had been looking at, animals. She's always loved animals, and she wanted to get back involved. She was big in FFA when she was in high school and showed horses. And so it just was a natural fit when we came back. You know, we have some extra land to raise animals on, and you know, the animals are small enough to where she can handle them, and it really helps the community and helps grow agricultural community kids, and has a good purpose to it.
So you and your wife raise the goats and sell them to kids who are raising them for 4-H and FFA projects, I take it.
That's correct, and yeah, she understands. She's done a lot of learning. 5 years ago, we didn't have a goat, and we have close to 30 of them now. So,
wow, that's a herd.
As they say in the business, not bad.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Paul. What were you going to say?
Rob's just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry, enough silliness.
Oh, boy.
Mike, tell us a little bit about your background and where you grew up and how you ended up in the irrigation business, please.
Yeah, yeah, I grew up in agriculture. My dad was an ag teacher in a small high school up in Northern California near Chico area. Most people know where Chico is. And, you know, I went through the 4-H and FFA programs, and he raised beef cattle also. So he, you know, in a small school, we had 250 kids in our high school. We got to learn how to weld and learned about animals and did, you know, shop projects and, you know, and so I just, you know, it's part of my roots and part of my family upbringing. And when I got into Cal Poly, I decided, you know, that's where I wanted to be, and got into the agricultural engineering major. I didn't know what I was going to do in the beginning, but I'll tell you, just the time I spent at the ITRC, which is the Irrigation Training Research Center, I was inspired by Dr. Burt, who's a retired professor there. You know, I just really enjoyed it, and I took a few canal classes, and I just enjoyed staying in the agricultural, you know, community, and, you know, it kind of led me down the path of starting work at Rain for Rent as an irrigation designer.
Well, it sounds like you're doing the same thing, passing on the love for agriculture to your kids as well, your 4 kids.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you never know how they're going to end up. You know, not all, you know, my siblings ended up, you know, in agriculture, but 3 out of the 4 of us did.
You know, and I've always felt so lucky to have been also raised as you in a farming background, and I know Paul was too, and we're so fortunate because very few people get to experience that today. And if you have the opportunity to pass that you know, to that exposure and that love on, I think it's all good for society and the planet too. So, Mike, tell us more about Rain for Rent. What are the company's roots? What does it do? Where'd that name come from, and what's its mission?
Well, I took the liberty of kind of doing a little timeline, so I'll share that with you. Rain for Rent started when Charles Lake arrived in Bakersfield in 1934. He began Western Oilfield Supply Company. And during the Depression, in the 30s, they dealt in used pipe and boiler tubing. And on the manufacturing side, Wasco manufactured water well casing and clothesline poles in order to survive, you know, during those hard times. They also handled drill pipe and repair and re-sleeving threaded oil field tube products. In the 40s, the oil fields started booming again, and Wasco's attentions focused on the agricultural industry that was sweeping California. Irrigation pipe made from 30-foot pieces of boiler tubing was the company's first agricultural product, and they built hundreds of thousands of these and sold them. In 1948, Wasco Foundry began to produce its first aluminum couplers. The foundry is actually still in business today, so it's one of the oldest aluminum foundries here in California and possibly the United States. And in 1969, Wasco acquired the aluminum tube mill up in Visalia for manufacturing of 6- and 8-inch aluminum mainline and gated pipe. Then in 1977, Lake received the Irrigation Association's Industry Achievement Award for developing the irrigation equipment rental industry. So it's been a big part of our background. The same year, Lake Company was established to develop wholesale markets for quality of irrigation products. So in the 80s, the company sold its first major drip irrigation system composed of 13 million feet of drip hose, and they started Crown American, an irrigation and equipment manufacturing plant in Eugene, Oregon. They acquired in 1981. So the company's been a part of the ag irrigation industry, their entire history. So
yeah, and I think that big drip system that you sold in the 80s, I may have been on that farm.
Yeah.
Mike Grunbig, your predecessor, was my salesman, and we were putting in a lot of your rain for rent drip back in those days. Good stuff.
And Mike Grunbig was a pioneer, especially out in that Fresno area, San Joaquin. We created a mission years ago, and it really, this statement holds true today. There's no question we all have to make a profit in this business. So Rain4Rent is a profit-oriented company committed to providing solutions to our customers, water handling, irrigation, and temporary liquid storage problems that exceed their expectations for service and quality. And that's been a long-standing mission as a company of the founders and the family. So it's really important to, those of us that carry on that tradition for them.
And you guys are everywhere. I mean, we're talking about mostly ag irrigation, of course, on this show and your duties today. But I remember after 9/11 when I visited New York City and was close to ground zero there, I was shocked to see a Rain4Rent piece of equipment. I guess it was a dewaterer, something that's used in construction, but there was Rain4Rent in downtown Manhattan in the middle of this disaster zone. Like, oh, I know who those people are. Yeah, you guys are involved in stuff everywhere. But thank you for that timeline. That was very interesting. I had no idea that the 30-foot sticks had anything to do with the boiler tubing. So that's an interesting piece of history.
I know you guys are involved, Rain4Rent's involved in the movie industry too, in the water, number of the movies that have come out, or television shows that come out where there's like flooding or water, major movements of water within the film. I think you guys are involved in that, if I remember correctly. Is that true?
We've actually been a part, I may be low on this number, of over 100 different movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I personally was involved in a couple of them. One of them was Terminator 4, and the other one was Wild Hogs.
I'll be darned. Huh.
Yeah, so it's pretty. We're in 10 different market segments, and just because of the different types of solutions and products we deal with, we've adapted and evolved, in those different industries.
So, Mike, and you're obviously covering the entire Western United States. Take a minute and explain to our audience, from your perspective, what are the challenges, not only in the Western United States, because that's so diverse, but in the San Joaquin Valley, or more specifically in the Kern County area?
Well, we've all just been through one of the biggest droughts anyone could experience, and we've had to fight through that. And the water, there's a lot of things that we aren't going to go back to what we, used to do. And so these changes, farmers are having to farm their land using the same or less water to grow that crop. And, they're having to spread it around further. I think the evolving groundwater regulations and the overdraft protections, and, a lot of states have already adopted these measures, but it hasn't been as enforced in California, and we're facing that today with having to deal with, or the growers are having to deal with that new regulation. And then with the recent onset of cost of labor, and the way we're having to deal with the new labor rates and the progression and more expense of the hourly cost, that's going to continue to be one of the biggest expenses on the farm, and their farmers are going to have to deal with how to work through that. And just the regulations come with monitoring and reporting, and farmers aren't. That's a technical challenge, and farmers aren't typically data managers, and they're having to accommodate this role. So there's a lot of things on their plate that that are changing, and they're being forced to deal with.
Yeah, those are some really big challenges, especially for people who, like you say, farmers aren't necessarily. They usually are farmers because they don't want to be in an office doing paperwork. They like to be out and about in the field and growing crops. But yeah, these are huge challenges, but there are some solutions, are there not? And I bet you probably provide some of them. Could you tell us a little bit about the irrigation and water management technologies that you're
absolutely
seeing a trend towards, or that you're providing for these folks?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been it's been watched for years and implemented for by some of the more progressive growers, but it's just the automation of irrigation systems, and it comes at a cost, and it takes a lot of learning and managing something that's not directly related to growing the crop necessarily, and so it's becoming a bigger factor with trying to control your irrigation water usage and the amount of fertilizers and chemicals you put on the farm, and it's part of that evolving data collection process. So that's something that we're learning as a company, and trying to continue to grow our solutions for our customers that are willing to adapt, with that new technology. I 5 years ago, when I got into this role as a VP, one of the biggest things was we have all this information coming at us now, and it's really hard to put together, just the decision-making tools that incorporate all that information. And I think that's a process we haven't figured out yet, but it's a big learning curve, and I think it's going to continue to get better, and we just have to stay on top of that. Just from our perspective as designers and irrigation system providers, we've looked at systems and design systems based on soil type. Usually that incorporates smaller block sizes, or that takes a very crop specific look at the land. You can't necessarily do it on row crops all the time, but on more permanent crops, it's one of the things that we've been able to look at and do a design for one of our more progressive growers.
That's probably drip irrigation, or is that sprinkler? Or
actually, it is sprinkler. Okay. And it was, it had to do with real sandy soils, and one of those locations where you had to have real frequent sets, and they knew it was going to be a challenge, and they wanted a solution that could help them work through that.
And then your portable filtration systems have been, a big support of people adopting drip irrigation. Is that not true?
Absolutely. And we've been, we have portable screen filters, portable media filters, and we've actually adopted on our diesel-driven pumps pressure transducers that allow us to have a pressure setting for when a pump goes into backflush mode or a filter goes into backflush mode. We can actually ramp up the speed of the pump for proper flushing, and then lower it back down for normal irrigation. So we're able to drop that overall pressure in the system, which, you know, if you have a low pressure drip tape system, you don't have to spend as much fuel putting that water on.
Huge energy saver.
That's efficient. That's really efficient.
Yeah. And we're also seeing, you know, we have a turbine division in San Joaquin, and there's funding for VFDs, more efficient electrical systems, which are very important.
So, Mike, explain the VFDs to our listeners who may not be as familiar.
VFDs are variable frequency drive, and they change the frequency. In other words, they change the speed of the motor to match the power required of the pumping system. So you're not wasting pressure is energy, and so you're not wasting a bunch of pressure, burning a bunch of pressure that you don't need to burn, and so it raises the overall efficiency of the pumping plant. And we see it both in booster pumps, and we see it in deep well turbine pumps.
You can change the flow rate and still be efficient, unlike a regular pump.
That's correct.
It's not unlike a gas pedal in your car. You push it down a little further when you need more power to get up a hill, or you let off when you don't need as much energy to be in cruise control or something along those lines, I guess.
Yeah, and that's real cost savings to, you know, the grower.
It helps the air quality and all kinds of things too.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, how do companies like Toro and Rain for Rent, how can we help the industry continue to thrive when there's the demand for resources is more intense and more competitive, and is not going to be any less, I don't think, as our population continues to grow and demands for water in rivers, streams, and lakes is going to be there for recreation and for the environment. How are companies like ours going to be included in the solution?
Well, I think there's been a lot of pressure for just being on price, you know, and I think it's really important, you know, to educate our customers that it's not all, you know, it's not all just about price. It's about, you know, the total solution. And I think our customers have to have these types of solutions to meet their needs, not only now but in the future. So I think we, as a team, as people like Rain for Rent and Toro, we have to continue to bring them knowledge and value of these new technologies, and I think they need to keep leaning on companies like ours to work together so that we can all be successful. And it means building relationships based on these types of solutions. There's a lot of communication that's involved, understanding the total needs of our customers, and, you know, how companies like Rain for Rent ask, you know, for the resources from Toro to help them out. You know, I think that's a really important aspect of our of companies like Toro and Rain for Rent to keep in mind moving forward.
Well, it really is a team effort, because we don't do what you do, and you, for the most part, don't do what we do, but together we can really help, farmers and industry meet the intense challenges that we face today. So, yeah, I appreciate your recognition that partnerships is what it's all about. We can't do it alone.
Absolutely not.
So, Mike, I think we've just got another couple of minutes. Please share with us what accomplishments are you proudest of? You've been in this for a while and have a very responsible position now. Tell us what's been the most fun, or what you're proudest of, and what else would you like to add before we sign off?
Well, I've had a long career at Rain for Rent so far, and it's been very challenging and very rewarding. It seems like facing different ones day, but probably just the people in the industry that I work with, the people, especially the people on the Rain for Rent team, working with the Lake family, and it's a great environment to be in, and it's great being in the agricultural industry because there's, the food and water aspect of it has a tremendous purpose, and I'm just proud that I've been able to be a part of that. Very thankful.
Well, we thank you for being a part of it and continuing to be. And
thank you for your leadership in not only within your company, but all the folks in the United States and in the industry. Mike, I just want to personally say thank you for that, and personally and professionally. You've done a great job, and I look forward to many additional years to come working with you and the Rain for Rent folks.
Yeah, I thank you very much for inviting me on, Paul and Ingy.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
making yourself available on this Thursday evening.
Happy to do it.
Get back to that wife and 4 kids and all those goats.
No, I appreciate it. It's been enjoyable. Thank you.
Great.
Look forward to working together in the future.
In December.
Yeah.
Okay, next week, just so everybody knows, we're having a training class with the Irrigation Association, and we're having a class on PVC cement techniques and application solvent cement, and it's going to be conducted by Mike Grabowski of Well Done Corporation. So it's both for homeowners and professional landscape contractors. Tune in, watch in, because it's going to be in video as well, and the professional landscape contractors can also apply for continuing education units on this class. It's great for the homeowners too, to really know what kind of PVC glue to buy and how to really put it on, because there's so many different techniques and people buy the wrong stuff. So anyway, everybody have a good week. Remember, most important thing is to think blue, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that will clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
Did you know that every dollar you put into a piece of real estate makes you money 5 ways? Cash flow, money in your pocket each month. Equity capture, the thousands of dollars you create when you have the right team and buy the right property using the right map. Appreciation, real estate doubles in value about every 10 years. Equity buildup, renters pay down your mortgage each month. And finally, the tax advantage. We pay almost no taxes on our cash flow and capital gains. These are the 5 ways we make money in real estate, which is why real estate accounts for more millionaires in the world today than any other investment vehicle. You should have some real estate in your portfolio. To learn how, attend one of our free workshops. Call 1-866-971-8970 or go to getmymapnow.com and register for the next available workshop. That's 866-971-8970 or getmymapnow.com.
This is Pastor Greg from Chosen Generation Radio Show, heard right here on KCAA, 1 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do any of these sound familiar? Not sleeping well, waking up tired, drinking more coffee than usual, can't stay focused, craving sugary drinks and snacks, feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, having trouble managing your weight, not sick but not firing on all cylinders? Any one of these could mean that you might have a system overload, and Thyrodrenal might just be right for you. Think about it. You've probably been feeling like this for a while. Life has a way of wearing you down, and if you aren't getting the right nutrients, then physical and emotional wear and tear will take its toll. Most of us at some time or another could use some nutritional support for our adrenal and thyroid glands to bring things back in balance. Our bodies respond well to optimal nutrition to keep daily energy levels up and stress levels down. Try Thyrodrenal from Michael's Naturopathic Programs, a nourishing support formula with vitamins, minerals, and herbs to put back what life takes out. Look for Michael's on the label. We're serious about good health. Thyrodrenal is available at leading health food stores nationwide. If you don't see it on the shelf, then ask for it by name. Thyrodrenal.
Do you want exposure for your business or organization? Check out Digital Network Advertising. Digital Network Advertising is where businesses display your ad inside their building. You can choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your slide holds the virtual billboard for 14 seconds and is displayed 3 times an hour. It's a novel way to be seen, be discovered, and to be remembered. Digital Network Advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call 909-222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living.
Joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon, broadcasting live out of the Sunset Gower studios, and every Thursday at 7 and Saturday at 1 on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, and FM 106.5, and now everywhere and anytime on iHeartRadio. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And if you've missed any of my great guests on the air, everyone from Marianne Williamson to Marianne from Gilligan's Island, Dr. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, please just go to YouTube. You can subscribe there. It's free. You'll catch all of my hope and happiness guests there, as well as topics that help you be happy 88% of the time. And before we get started with our fabulous guest today, peace in and peace out. Shout out to all the beautiful people I met this weekend, especially my teammates on the Long Beach Yacht Club women's sailing team. We did win first place in the women's Elias Lemwad Memorial Regatta, Linda Elias Memorial One Design for Women, and it was just amazing. Shout out to my 2 fabulous skippers, Wendy and Lisa, and all of my teammates that we just kicked it on the water, and all of the sailors that came down from Seattle and San Francisco. And we were great competitors, and just so appreciate that weekend on the water. And also, especially my Beth and Stephanie at the mast, who made my job really easy. And also Sherry, my pitmate. And thanks to Patty at Keen Footwear for sponsoring I got a free pair of shoes for that. So go to my Facebook and you can see me getting pushed into the water in celebration. But now it is time for the guest you've all been waiting for, one of the funniest actresses whose memorable lead role in The Nanny made her voice a household sound. She was a guest on my show 5 years ago, believe it or not. I've been on the air 288 consecutive weeks in a row, but she's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome to the studio, Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
And supporting Cancer Schmance. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're back. And actually, before you talk, I have a friend who you may or may not have met who has some things in common with you. I'd like her to come on too, but she's going to let you talk because I know you have to leave early. But Charlotte Rae, an actress that a lot of people know from Facts of Life. She's an actress. She was just in Ricky and the Flash. She's also a cancer thriver, Fran. I didn't know if you knew that. So she's going to come on and also join us. And when you have to leave, she's going to take over and help me continue on the show. So please welcome to my studio, Charlotte Rae.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Charlotte. So nice to see you.
Isn't it wonderful?
Ditto. Ditto.
Well, somebody said to me this morning, you have two of the greatest laughs coming on your show at the same time.
Oh.
There we go.
I think, Charlotte, we were at some theater show recently, but for the life of me, I can't remember. I was in a theater, and you were there, too. Did you see a show recently or in the last few months? I don't know. Were you at Hello Dolly with Bette Midler?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Maybe we were there the same night because that was one of the last shows I saw of recent.
Well, that's beautiful.
I thought. I wrote her a note and I said, I love you and I know that you're going to be magnificent. Keep up the good work. I'm not going to come back to see you. But I love you. I didn't go back. No, I didn't.
Yes, I went back. She looked amazing after a big show like that. She had it down. She looked good. And I was appreciative to be able to see her perform. She's always so, joyful and so great, full of good energy.
And I think
that.
Yes, and I think both of you embody that description. And how much of attitude helps cancer thrivers? I guess we'll start with that.
Charlotte, you're welcome to come to my health summit on the 24th as my guest. You're more than welcome to. I'd love to have you. Now that I know that you too are a thriver.
Yeah. We're on the 24th of what?
This month, next week, Tuesday. It's at the
Dorothy Chandler Pavilion.
Dorothy Chandler in the Music Center downtown, and it's a whole day, like a master class with very exciting speakers. Bam, bam, bam. We give you, a pad and a pen. You start taking notes. We serve organic food. People don't even want to get up to go to the restroom because they're afraid they're going to miss somebody. And it covers a full spectrum of amazing health issues that, are chronic or of interest to our audience. And the whole thing is in support of Cancer Schmance, my organization that I founded.
Yes.
Wonderful. Onward and upward with your wonderful thing that you're doing.
Yeah, you turn lemons into lemonade, girl. That's what we do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it
Okay.
instead of a cause for it. And that's what we do at Cancer Schmancer. We pivot the focus towards identifying causes and eliminating it. We are driving this unhealthy engine and becoming an increasingly unhealthy nation. And 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men are expected to get cancer in their life. And the children of today, for the first time in U.S. history, are predicted to not live as long as their parents. And we're doing it ourselves with mindless consumerism. And what we do at Cancer Schmancer is retrain you to start asking the right questions, because there's a lot of money in sickness, make no mistake about that. And nobody is putting energy into eliminating causes of cancer. They're much more focused on coming up with the next big thing in big business pharmaceuticals that may keep you chronically ill living longer. And that's not what we're about at Cancer Schmancer. That's got to stop. It's the 21st century, and we have to start looking at what we are doing on a daily basis that's creating dis-ease, poor health, for not only ourselves as women, but also every member of our family and our pets. And part of it is we have a very progressive program at Cancer Schmancer called Detox Your Home. The home is the most toxic place we spend the most time in. Also, we expand your mind to include alternative options to conventional Western medicine if you are diagnosed with a disease, and, to incorporate it or, make a different choice. But certainly knowledge is power, and you have to know what's available. And that will, it's unlikely it will be on the menu at the doctor's office, because they're in their silos. They don't even teach alternative options or indigenous wisdom or ancient practices in medical school, and they're certainly not going to pass it on to you. So there's a very tight kind of medical community of conventional medicine, and that's not the only option. So that's if you get catch it on arrival, 95% survival. So we train you to start recognizing the warning whisper, the tests that are available, because they may not be on the menu at the doctor's office either. And it's at the whisper stage that it's the most curable, the easiest to take care of quickly, and that's the time when we generally may ignore it, may not think of it as anything possibly serious. So we change your thinking. This may be nothing, but God forbid it's something. I want to catch it at the onset, because catch it on arrival, 95% survival. Then, prevention. Over 90% of all cancers and many, many diseases that chronically plague Americans are environmentally stimulated. And even if you have a genetic tendency towards something, genes can be turned on and off by environment. That's science. So, we have to also understand that what we're doing is creating disease in our life, and that's our Detox Your Home program, where we encourage you to take the checks, choose, and change challenge by thinking about what you are putting in, on, and around you. What are you eating? All your personal care items, including oral health. And then what are you cleaning and gardening with? You must start with that in your home and for every member of your family, because if you're buying industrial farmed food, you're doing yourselves a grave disservice. They're just laden with agrochemicals and hormones and antibiotics, and they're not serving you or the land well.
Right.
If you need to eat food that's not growing in dead soil.
Right.
but has a strong infrastructure of a microbiome, or that food is not nutritious.
Right.
Which is why so many people need vitamins. And then even the vitamins, they don't know how the body is absorbing it. And most people, are excreting very, healthy urine because it's just passing right through.
Right.
So, what we don't know is killing us. What we need to learn ASAP. And we at Cancer Schmancer are devoted to turning patients into medical consumers, to retraining you to thinking about causation and the elimination, to motivate and actuate your lifestyle into something that will enable your immune system to do what it's supposed to do. But to do that, you have to start thinking about what you're doing wrong.
Make better choices.
Without question. You got to rethink and relearn everything that you thought was good from the 20th century. It was good for some people, but just big business manufacturers. The rest of us are getting sicker and sicker.
Right. And
while they get richer and richer.
Right. And one of the things that I've noticed, you wear less makeup now, because that's one of the areas that we are affecting our skin with some of the chemicals.
The stuff that you put on every day. I don't wear makeup every day, but your toothpaste, your deodorant, your moisturizers, that you put on every single day, and sometimes a few times a day, that perfumes, all of that stuff. What are you cleaning with? Before a woman and a man leaves the bathroom, they've been exposed to 8 to a dozen carcinogens. And nobody really is clear on the combinations or how that's impacting or compromising your immune system.
And all of this
children absorb these things even faster, and their body is reproducing faster, and so it's impacting them even quicker than in a grown-up, and that's something else you have to think about.
Absolutely.
So, but once you wake up and smell the coffee, it's hard to go back to sleep. And we are going to talk about all that at the Fran Drescher Health Summit on October 24th, and you can go to cancerschmancer.org and get your ticket, because this will be a master class that is literally life-changing. And when you go home, you'll be able to tell your family, okay, we got a game plan now, and we're going to do it as a family, and we're going to take one step at a time, and every time we replace something, we're going to replace it with something that's healthy for us and healthy for the planet, because we're one big, living, interconnected organism.
Absolutely.
And until we start thinking about it that way, reduce on your plastic, reduce on, all industrial farm foods, reduce on all of your cleaning products that are not eco-friendly, because it's just too strong and it's hurting you. You don't need it.
Yes.
They tell you need it because they want to sell you.
Right.
But if we stop buying it, they'd stop making it. Trust me. They're only interested in making money off of you. And nobody is going to tell you to be a smart consumer but us. So, and those people like us. But, I feel like we're ahead of the curve, and we want to bring everybody with us, because this is the only way to stop all the sickness, the disease, the pollution. The sicker we make the planet, the sicker we make ourselves, and vice versa. It's the same, one and the same.
Yes, we are
one
all
and the
connected
same
that way. Yes, and just kudos to you. I'm going to give you the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award again, because you don't have to do this. You're not selling anything except information to help us be more healthy. And I said this on the pink carpet to you. I so appreciate I don't have stars, quote unquote, on the show a lot unless they're doing something with their spotlight and their limelight and turning it on areas of darkness that we can illuminate and brighten. So thank you for what you do. You're a cancer thriver. You didn't just shut down or just hide that, but you have used this whole situation that you've been in to help illuminate and help all of us with more information. And I so appreciate that. If you want to join Fran and I and Charlotte next Tuesday, go to trashcancer.org or cancerschmancer.
No, not trans.
Oh, it's not?
I don't think trash cancer. No.
Oh.
I think it's cancerschmancer.org/WHS or just cancerschmancer.org, and
Okay.
you can click on the Health Summit and get your tickets. I'm afraid to send people to that because I've not been sending people to that. So that could be a little mislead because we do have a trash cancer program which teaches you how to detox your home.
Thank you for that clarification.
But I think that we're best off just saying to everyone, please go to cancerschmancer.org and get your tickets for the Health Summit 2017. You won't regret it.
Absolutely. Do we have time for a quick personal question? Remember the first time you came on, I asked you what you were looking for in a man, and you gave me the 5 S's. Is that still holding true?
Yes. Well, I put in a 6th one now.
Oh, you have. Good. So it was sexy,
Yes.
successful, smart, single, straight, and
sane.
I'm not going to go there.
Sexy, smart, successful, single, straight, and sane.
Got it. Not based
All right,
on
well,
experience.
thank you so much, ladies. I'll see you on the 24th. And I appreciate both your support and your listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fran. We'll see you next week.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peace in and peace out. All right, if you've just tuned in, that was, yes, you noticed from the laugh, that was Fran Drescher calling in to educate us again on how we can prevent cancer. It's not just an inevitable, even if you've had it in your family, that over 90% of cancer is environmental, and you can help yourself. I also have, who's been nice and quiet just so Fran could get in all of her information, but we are blessed to have Charlotte Ray also on the line. And I'm so grateful that you guys actually connected on my show, and maybe I get to see you in person as well next Tuesday, Charlotte.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But anyway, she's marvelous.
Isn't
I
she?
think she's a real wonderful speaker about what's important and what's healthy and what's not healthy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely. And I understand you're actually going through chemo right now.
Yes, this is for the 3rd time.
Oh, geez. Okay. Tough?
Well, no, it's all right. It started way back. When was that? In 2000. When was it? 2008. What happened was my mother, my uncle, and my sister died of pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
All 3 of them. And then they told me, because I was an actress and well known, that I could go to my hometown and talk to them about pancreatic cancer and how to be sure to get a checkup every year. And so I went to Milwaukee, my hometown, and they did a checkup on me and my sister Mimi. And my sister Mimi was fine. They told me that I should get a checkup in 6 months. So unfortunately, I didn't like the guy that they introduced me to in where I lived in L.A., and so I decided to go a year later back to Milwaukee. Well, a year later I went back, and I had pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
Full blown.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. So I went to a wonderful surgeon, Dr. Weaver, and I had cancer remedial stuff with Dr. Isaacoff for 6 months, once a week. And Dr. Weaver, the surgeon who took off the end of my pancreatic cancer, he didn't treat me like an old lady. I mean, I have asthma, and I have, what else do I have? I have a pacemaker and a microwave, not a microwave, but something
You're
like
the
that.
iron woman.
And I have scoliosis.
Wow.
But they didn't send me home. They didn't send me home. And he removed the tail of my pancreas. And I before the surgery, I went to somebody, Cheryl O'Neill. She was a therapist, and she gave me wonderful images to think about while I was under the ether. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's great.
And that was, yeah.
How young are you now? Can I ask?
I'm 91 now.
Wow, you are definitely my youngest guest on the show. You've broken my record. Sarcasm is another service I offer. No, I'm just so delighted. You're awesome.
Yeah.
91, and you just got off a plane. You're on a radio show. You're helping me co-host this show. I mean, come on, you go. That's beautiful. And actually, I want to take this time to show a little clip of I got to meet some fabulous artists and gymnasts and Olympic and singer-songwriters and interview them on the pink carpet at an event last Sunday that I'm sure you would have been at if you had known, called Jump, Jive, and Thrive. And I'm going to show a little clip that you can hear of my interview with Melissa Etheridge. You know who that is? The singer, Oscar Grammy. Yeah, and we're going to play it right now.
Brilliant. Wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah. All right. Chris is setting it up. Yeah, so what I did was I got to interview Fran on the pink carpet, knowing that she was going to come here too. And then there a bunch of other interviews that I've been saving and not publishing because I wanted to show it today, because today's show obviously is celebrating cancer survivor and prevention for the of October. So I think we're ready, and we're going to play it now. Hi, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from the Poly Pavilion at the Jump, Jive, and Thrive. Yeah. It is Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah, here with someone who has inspired and given us some music to love for a long time. And I am just so pleased to speak with you. What does this feel like, being honored and supporting and all of this?
Well, I really, really like the direction that this is going. The focus is on thriving. And to me, so much of what the focus on cancer has been about surviving and how you're going through a battle. Yeah. And my experience was my breast cancer diagnosis brought me more closer to myself and had me understand life and joy and how important it is to understand how much stress I'm under and what that's doing to myself, but putting myself first so that I can be there for my family and for my friends. That's really why, and it's why I really like this focus here.
So it sounds like cancer almost was a way to bring you to yourself.
I am one of those people that say, hey, my cancer was a gift. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. I have a show about hope and happiness out of the Sunset Garage Studios. Would love to have you as a guest.
I would love to. That's what it's all about.
It is. So if you would sign out with me for times to come, this is Melissa Etheridge with Dr. Marissa saying peace in and peace out. Isn't that cool, Charlotte?
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
She's not just a Grammy winner, but twice. She's an Oscar winner, and her attitude was, talk about the lemon out of lemon and lemonade. It does seem like those people who are thriving are the ones with the positive attitude about being, about having cancer. Would you say you've obviously you've done this 3 times now? You tell me what helps you, so that anyone listening in who has or is going through cancer right now, what would you say is so important for you when you're going through treatment or whatever you're doing?
Well, you just be grateful for the health that you've had and for the health that you're going to have. And I'm just so grateful that they detected the cancer. Well, let's see. Now I'm in cancer for the 3rd time, and I'm still here at 91. I'm so incredibly grateful. You can imagine how I feel.
Yeah.
And the 2nd time, it was a different thing. It was a 6-month checkup, and my skin doctor found it, and my jaw was swollen, and I went to Dr. Simon, and I biopsy and lymph node in the neck. They said it was a salivary gland and in the cancer, and 6 months radiation. While I was rehearsing, I was doing a play.
Wow.
And and then when that was done, that was wonderful. And then a year later, it came back again, and now I'm on. What am I doing now? I had 2 weeks of radiation with the old doctor, but then I switched to Dr. Woolman, and now what am I going to do now? I went to New York, had a wonderful time, saw Bette Midler in her show.
Oh, yay.
And it was terrific. And now, all of a sudden, I have it on my spine. So now, I'm trying to, it went into my bones.
Oh.
But I mean, the ultrasound and the mammogram showed that I didn't have breast cancer, but they found that it originated from the salivary gland, and I'm going for chemo with Dr. Zev Weinberg, and I don't know, I'm just enjoying my life, and there's improvement. They said that it's improving, and I'm busy talking to people and giving courage to as many people as I can, because I can't believe that I'm still above ground and enjoying my life and my friends, and I want to pass on as much good cheer as possible.
Beautiful.
It's wonderful, but Fran is doing something very, very positive.
Yes.
A whole program.
Correct.
Yeah, what she's doing is fantastic. Yeah.
That's
but
great.
I think that it's amazing that I'm still above ground and enjoying my life and my friends and life.
So there's
Beautiful.
proof right there. You can hear it in her voice. The reason why she is as she is and doing all that she is this amazing, beautiful, wonderful frame on her life in gratitude. And I'm so grateful that I got to have Charlotte Ray on the air with me. And it is time for us to thank our sponsor for today's show. So, Charlotte, just hang on, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Just remember, it's about balance, peace in, and peace out. Okay, jazz lovers, it's time to celebrate life with a Catalina Island weekend getaway with jazz greats like Rick Braun, Richard Elliott, Manhattan Transfer, Take 6, Gerald Albright, and Norman Brown. Don't miss the 31st Jazz Tracks Festival at the beautiful Avalon Casino on Catalina Island 2 weekends, October 12th and 19th. Tickets are selling out fast, so go to jazztracks.com. That's jazztracks with an X.com today. Back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon here out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California on Universal Broadcasting Network. And then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 1 on my syndicated CNBC, NBC News radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5. and everywhere on iHeartRadio. And this is a show about hope and happiness, and I'm so delighted to have, we just had Fran earlier, and now we still have with us Charlotte Ray, and you'll remember her from Different Strokes, and then for many years on Facts of Life, and then it just is like the Energizer Bunny, does not stop, and she was just not that long ago on with Meryl Streep on Ricky and the Flash. And she just flew back from New York. She's a third time going through treatment, a thriver of the nth degree, and now one of the youngest members of my guests on the air. She's 91 years young, and I'm so grateful to have you. So I have a couple more interviews. So we have 2 Olympic gold medal winners. One of them is a cancer thriver. And I guess we'll find Shannon Miller's first and pull that up. She was amazing. And let me tell you about the show. It Jump, Jive, and Thrive is actually going to be aired on, it's a YouTube link, Jump, Jive, and Thrive is going to be on CBS on October the 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to watch that, there's gymnastics, there's the gymnastics team, Miss Val, who I'm going to release my interview with her. I'm actually going to invite her on the show. She's the 6-time NCAA coach of the winning UCLA gymnastics team. She won Coach of the Century. She's beautiful, cancer thriver as well. And so I think we're going to show Shannon Miller's right now.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from the Poly Pavilion in a great benefit event, Jump and Jive and Thrive. And I have here an amazing gymnast, Shannon Miller, and she's here. Why?
I am here to support awareness for cancer. I'm an ovarian cancer survivor. My mother is a cancer survivor. Obviously, I was a gymnast back in the day, but this is something I'm very passionate about. I do a lot with women's health and wellness, and for me, it's all about getting awareness out there, helping people understand how they can help with research, how they can help get to their own doctor's appointments and get those exams, but also an opportunity with the dance and the gymnastics and the music just to get up and move and celebrate life.
She's beautiful. It wasn't that long ago. What's your favorite memory of that time?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's so many, but I think the 96 Olympics, winning gold with our team, the Magnificent Seven, standing up there, singing the flag being raised, and it was just such an incredible moment. I mean, especially for a 19-year-old to do that.
Yes. Love to have you on my show. Last thing I do is peace in and peace out. It's all about balance. Peace in and peace out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
She was absolutely gorgeous, Shannon Miller.
Hi, this is Dr. Marissa reporting.
Oh. And then we have one more from Lori Hernandez, who she's not a cancer thriver, but she wanted to come and support. She is the the most recent Olympic gold gymnastics winner, and I'm sure you watched it on TV. She has this very bubbly. She's as bubbly in person as she is on the beam. So go ahead and show that.
Beautiful smile. I'm Dr. Marissa, reporting live from Poly Pavilion, UCLA. We're here to do some beautiful work and shed hope and happiness. I am Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah, and I have here Lori Hernandez. Tell me why you would want to support an event like this.
I think it's really important to get the message out there. I think that so many people are just... I think that, so many people are here to tell their story and to explain what they've been through. And I think a lot of people really need to hear that and just be grateful for where they are. I think that it's really important to get this message out there.
Beautiful. What do you do in the morning when you don't feel like getting out there?
I think when I don't feel like getting out there, I remind myself that, today's a great day because I got to wake up today.
Beautiful.
So as soon as you can switch that mindset, that's it. You decide how your day goes,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I sign out of every show by saying peace in, and peace out.
And peace out.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you, Lori.
I think I'm going to call this show the Laughing Show. There are so many distinctive laughers today. Right? And there we have it. I love you. You're adorable. So,
thank you.
Yeah, and so let's do, because I know people are going to say, what was your favorite part of Facts of Life, or what is you've had quite the life yourself, yes?
Oh yeah, it's been a big, wonderful life. Yeah, some of it's been very, very fabulous, and some of it's been very, very tragic. But that's life, right?
Absolutely, ups, peaks, and valleys, right?
Yeah,
we actually didn't have time. Harlan wrote down some of the facts on your sheet, and one thing that I didn't get a chance to bring up with Fran on the straight thing. Both of your husbands ended up coming out as gay. That's a commonality. Did you know that? Hers as well.
Yes.
Oh, you had known about. Okay.
It's something that eventually happened. That people, the guys, finally came out and realized that they could speak openly about it and be free, and that was a good thing. It was a good thing.
Right.
It was unfortunate that I wasn't given that information in the beginning, but I had a wonderful time with him. He was a good father always, from the beginning to the end of his life. He was a good father, and he was a very talented man, a very good composer, and he did some marvelous movies, and was very, very successful. And so I mean, it's sorry that it was the way it was, but I feel for him. I really feel that I'm 100% for him. You understand?
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. How gracious that is, and how loving that is of you. I understand you're friends now, which is great, and that's beautiful. So we have a couple of minutes left. One is, what was your favorite? I had a question come in on a message. What was your favorite episode on Facts of Life? Is one question. Do you have one, or the whole show was fabulous?
I don't know. I just love the girls. I love the show. I love the messages that we gave. And the parents and children could sit down and listen to them all, about divorce and death and all sorts of different things that were and suicide. There were things that they could sit down and share these episodes together.
Yeah.
The parents and the children. I loved it. And I love the girls. The girls are terrific. I'm still in touch with them all.
I was just going to ask. Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have
They all called me on my 91st birthday to wish me a happy birthday.
That's
and
so awesome.
whenever they're in town, they come and see me, which is wonderful.
That's great.
And,
That's great. Well, we'll
yeah.
just plan for your 92nd birthday to have everybody either in studio or call in. How's that sound?
Yeah, but you know, if they want to see me on my, I wrote a book, and you can get it on Amazon.
Beautiful.
I wrote a book. Yeah, what's it called?
It's called The Facts of My Life.
The Facts of My Life.
Right?
And my life is filled with ups and downs. And I think people would really enjoy it.
Yep.
And I do have a recording of it as well.
Fabulous.
And so you can get it all on Amazon, okay?
Absolutely. Please do. Please do. There's a lot of people who remember you, and you can support her through this. Go get her book, and you get the inside story of the facts of her life. I already know some. I'm not even going to say them on the air because I'm going to make you get the book because it's a great book. I have the inside scoop.
Wonderful show. I mean, I'll tell you, the time went by. Is it all over?
Yeah, it's almost all over. I have a couple more things to deal with you with. One is I can't miss the opportunity. I'm sure you've heard of what's going on with the whole Weintraub, the sexual abuse, sexual harassment in all that.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
I think he's a scumbag.
and there we have it. Beautiful. So can't really top that. Yeah. So what is the lesson? Anytime something bad happens in life, I have been trained to ask myself, what is trying to develop as a direct result of this crap or this shiitake? Okay, so what can we learn, grow, and develop as a direct result of this stuff? So instead of hearing about it and then complaining and then nothing changes, what can we do differently when something like this happens?
Oh, you mean something like, what's his name?
Yes. Yes.
Well, take action, yes. Don't sit back and be passive.
Yeah.
Be active. We all have to be active.
So when
you know, one person can make a difference. They can do it. They can do it.
Yeah. Now you actually worked with Meryl Streep. She's getting a little heat around all of this. Anything to say about that? I think I'm.
Except that she's a very genuine person.
She's one of my favorite actors.
Nothing phony about her. She's I mean, as soon as I went on the set, she came out and to greet me and made me feel comfortable. And I so enjoyed working with her. She's not only a great actress, she's a really decent, loving human being. Who could ask for anything more?
That's beautiful. So before we go on a rampage, always wait for the facts. The facts. I know that's one thing that we can all do. So what is your wish for this next year? I'm wishing you full recovery, great health, remission, and all of that. But what is something you would like to do this year that you haven't done yet?
I don't know. I would like to be of service. To be of service in any way that I can be of service.
Well, you are right now by being alive and grateful, and you are just a shining example of what it's like to grow old gracefully and beautifully. I end every show with a question for all of my guests. Who would you like to be grateful to that helped you be who you are?
Well, you know, my higher power, my God. I'm very grateful to God because I rely on God a lot. And I'm inspired by many people. But I mean, it's my higher power, my God,
That's beautiful.
which keeps me together and motivates me to move and makes me love and cherish the people that I love and cherish the people in the world and say prayers. Oh my God, am I saying prayers for the people in the world?
Yes.
Especially in our country, but all over the world. There's so much chaos and so much disorganization, so much hunger and tragedy and death.
Yes.
Oh God, give some peace and love and bread to the people of the world.
Yeah, beautiful. And we share that in common. I call my God my UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers every morning when I pray and meditate. So we absolutely share that in common. Thank you so much, Charlotte Ray, for coming on the show and helping me co-host this Cancer Awareness and Prevention show. I wish you the best. I send you all the love and healing energy right now with the breath, sending it out your way. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye-bye.
I love you too.
Aww.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. God bless.
All right. What a fabulous, fabulous, I'm so grateful. So I'm so lucky with this show, the people that I get to spend time talking to and meeting. So it is time for a very quick balance bar at the end, where I invite you to come and balance with me. We are on round 76, balance tip, day 17 on the 21-day fast from complaining. What are the benefits of not complaining? One is you'd feel better. So, and sometimes when you think that everybody has a right to your opinion, that's not true. If you think you always have to say what's on your mind or tell it like it is, most often is not positive, and then you will find things to complain about. So I follow the rule from Dr. David Simon, 3 questions to ask before you open your mouth. Is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? If it's not, never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. And a peace shout out for a number of people that we did not get a chance to show their interviews. Dave Cause, fabulous jazz saxophonist, as well as Mark Ballas and BC Jean. I think I have some pictures up there that you can sort of flip through real quick. Samantha Harris, great actress. The boy band that actually sang for me. I'm going to be posting those all up on my Red Carpet YouTube channel. So find them. My interview with singer Judith Hill, whose mom is in remission now. I'm so grateful. Her role. So again, don't forget to watch Jump, Jive, and Thrive, October 21st. CBS, 1 p.m. Eastern. And please go to www.cancerschmancer.org. Fran Drescher's fabulous, lots of education on there on how to prevent cancer, so you're not the 1 in 3 and 1 in 2 men and women that are getting cancer. Also, Monday nights, I am teaching balanced Tai Chi Gong, 6 p.m. sunset. Moving meditation right by the pier in the grassy area. We had a great class yesterday. And if you would like to work with me on the beach for more balance, hope, and happiness in your life, please do contact me at the number 4balance.org. And next week, I am very, very happy to announce that we're having a show specifically for children. And I have a wonderful author coming on. He's an award-winning, best-selling conscious bedtime stories author. His name is Andrew Newman, and he will be coming on the air with me, and we'll be reading some of his books. So if you have children, Please do listen in. Sometimes on my Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa, I ask you not to tune in with your kids last week of the month. But this show is particularly for children. And I'm going to ask him to read The Boy Who Searched for Silence and The Hug That Got Stuck. And one last peace in, peace out, shout out again. I did not mention one thing with my Lemwad regatta is Linda Elias was the woman that the regatta is named after. It was actually a cancer. She had ovarian cancer, and so we hold this yearly race in her honor. And Mary Cheers is a friend of hers who, if you look on my Facebook, she describes what Alinda was like, and I just wanted to dedicate this show to her in her memory because of the important work she did for us women sailors on the water and the important work that we all continue doing, raising awareness. If you know anyone with cancer, I want you to contact them today and just to tell them that you love them and that you're here for them. I want to dedicate this show to anyone who's been touched by this and knowing that there is, you're beautiful, wonderful, you will get through to the other side, and that you are loving, lovable, and loved and wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness no matter what you're going through. And that's for anyone who is not feeling perfect health right now. So that's it. My Dr. Marissa's little special blessing at the end of the show. Maybe we'll start that as a practice. But I'm so grateful to all of you for tuning in. Remember, it is all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend